Commander Zethrak's four eyes widened in disbelief as his ship's sensors painted an impossible picture on the holographic display. Where the dead system of Kepler 442 should have shown nothing but a radiation-scorched wasteland, massive energy, signatures blazed like artificial suns. "Tactical, confirm those readings," he hissed through his translator, his scaled hands gripping the command console. "Confirmed, Commander," his lieutenant replied, her voice trembling. "Multiple defensive installations, orbital platforms, and..." She paused, rechecking her instruments. "Approximately 50,000 life signs." The hegemony fleet had come to Kepler 442 expecting to find the scattered remains of human refugees, the same desperate survivors who had fled here 3 cycles ago when the galaxy's major powers had finally united to end the human problem. Every civilized species had agreed. Humans were too dangerous, too unpredictable, too stubborn to coexist with rational beings. Kepler 442 had been the perfect solution, a system so hostile that even the hardy Krillian miners avoided it. Twin. Red giant stars bathed everything in lethal radiation, while gravitational anomalies tore apart anything larger than a small frigate. The humans had limped here in their damaged ships, and the galaxy had collectively sighed in relief, knowing that nature would accomplish what their combined fleets could not. "Sir," the communications officer's voice cracked, "we're being hailed." On screen. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a human face that Zethrak recognized from intelligence files. Admiral Sarah Chen, former commander of the Terran Defense Fleet. But something was different. Her eyes held a confidence that hadn't been there during her species' desperate exodus. "Welcome to Fort Defiance," she said with a smile that made Zethrak's blood run cold. "I assume you're here to finish what you started?" "Admiral Chen," Zethrak replied, trying to project authority he no longer felt. "You cannot possibly have survived here. Our scientists calculated..." "Your scientists calculated wrong." Chen's image shifted, revealing the bridge of what appeared to be a massive station behind her. Through the viewports, Zethrak could see the twin red giants, their deadly radiation somehow contained within shimmering barrier fields. They made the same mistake everyone always makes about humans. They assumed we'd play by the rules. The tactical display updated, showing the true scope of what the humans had built. Orbital habitats ringed the system's planets, connected by transport tubes that somehow navigated the gravitational chaos. Mining platforms had been constructed around the red giants themselves, harvesting the very radiation that should have killed everything in the system. "Impossible," Zethrak whispered. "You want to know the funny thing?" Chen continued. "We should, thank you. Forcing us here was the best thing that ever happened to humanity. Do you see those stations feeding off the stellar radiation? They're powering the largest manufacturing complex in the galaxy. Those gravitational anomalies you thought would crush us. We're using them to accelerate our ships to velocities your people can't even theorize." Zethrak's sensor officer looked up from his console, terror plain in his expression. "Commander, I'm reading weapon signatures unlike anything in our databases. Energy outputs that should be impossible." "The isolation gave us time to think," Chen said, as if she could hear their conversations. "Time to innovate without interference. Time to become something new. You see, every other species in the galaxy looks at a hostile environment and asks, how do we avoid this? Humans look at it and ask, how do we make this work for us?" Through the view screen, Zethrak watched massive ships emerging from what he had assumed were asteroids. They moved with impossible grace through the gravitational storms, their hulls gleaming with technology he couldn't identify. "We turned your execution ground into our forge," Chen continued. "The radiation that should have killed us, we learned to absorb it, store it, weaponize it. The gravitational fields that should have torn us apart, they became our highways. The isolation that should have broken our spirit, it gave us unity." Zethrak's communications officer looked up, panic in her voice. "Sir, I'm detecting similar installations in 17 other systems, all locations previously considered uninhabitable." "You thought you scattered us to die in the galaxy's worst neighborhoods," Chen said, her smile growing wider. "Instead, you gave us a head start on colonizing real estate no one else wanted. Funny how that worked out." The hegemony fleet's weapons powered up automatically, but Zethrak found himself hesitating. His force of 200 ships suddenly seemed pathetically small against the installation surrounding them. "I wouldn't," Chen advised calmly. "Our defensive systems are currently painting each of your ships with 17 different targeting solutions. But I'm not interested in destroying you, Commander. I want you to go back to the Hegemony Council with a message." "And what message would that be?" "Humanity is no longer running. We've spent 3 years turning every death trap you could find into a fortress, every uninhabitable world into a stronghold, every impossible environment into an advantage." Chen's expression hardened. "The galaxy thought it could exile us to die. Instead, it gave us exactly what we needed to become unstoppable." Zethrak stared at the displays showing humanity's impossible achievements. They had done more than survive in Kepler 442. They had thrived, creating wonders from wastelands and strength from suffering. "Tell the Council," Chen concluded, "that the age of human exile is over. The age of human expansion has begun. And this time we're not asking permission." As the hegemony fleet turned to flee, Zethrak couldn't shake the image of those human installations, turning death into life, chaos into order. The galaxy had tried to end the human story by writing them into its most dangerous chapters. Instead, they had made those chapters their own.